Hi, a quick tip today about securing the edges of your patchwork in slow stitching. This is a piece that I've just started working on. I've created the collage and I've done some slow stitching that has secured everything down. The edges will still come up, which is part of one of the nice things about slow stitching. What I like to do is to secure my edges down. I like to go around my pieces. And I just use straight stitches for that. These ones I've placed fairly close together and I've used an opposite color, so it really stands out. Sometimes I use a color that blends a bit more. So here I've chosen this sort of blue-violet color that sort of matches with the background where this turquoise blue piece is. So the way I do this is I take these straight stitches, and it's easiest in my hand and with my needle to space them out in this way. So I don't worry about how close they are together the first time I go around. I space them in a way that's comfortable in terms of where my needle's going out and coming in. I'm speeding up this next portion to show that I continue in this same way with my stitches. Just relax and go in and out in the top and the bottom, spacing them in a way that's comfortable in my hand until I get to the other side. So I've gone around once now, and I could leave it at that. And this patchwork piece is now fairly secure, and it's not going to come up as much as it would have if I didn't do it. And sometimes I like to go around a second time. So now what I'm doing is just going in between the stitches that I did in my first round. So again, that's something that's very comfortable in my hand, comfortable in terms of spacing, how far apart the stitches are. So my goal is to make one stitch in between each stitch, filling in the gaps and adding one more layer of mark and security. I feel like precision in terms of equal spacing, equal size stitches is not what's important in slow stitching. Sort of more organic, homemade look is what I'm going for. And of course, just the relaxation and the repetitiveness of stitching without worrying about precision. So I've come back around my second time. I think I want to take one more stitch right here. So there I've gone around twice, and I feel like that's a really nice securing of this patchwork piece. Visually, I like the way it looks, and it's blending into the background. So that's one way that I secure them down. And with this patch, I have gone around 3 times. So the stitches are closer together, and I felt like that look was nicer because it's contrasting here. It's a bolder mark that I wanted to stand out, and I felt like a thicker line of stitching where everything's closer together was nicer in this case. So here's a few examples. This is a bag that I've made. I'll link to the video below, and you can see that all the patchwork pieces that I'd made have this stitching around them to secure them. So they're not going to come up as this bag is handled and used. And in some cases, it's easier to see the stitching than others, where I wanted a contrast, and other stitchings where I've used more than one color. It's really a creative process where it's a decorative element as well as a really securing functional element. This is a needle book that I've made. And you can see on this patch, I've used yellow and an off-white. And you can't see as much that I've gone around it, whereas I've used this light green here and you can see it more. So all the options are open in terms of how to secure them down, in terms of what colors to pick when securing them down. And I really like that what it does is it makes the piece so that it's still raw edge, it's still very organic and touchable, but it's going to last through use. So I hope that was helpful, and happy stitching.